It has come to my attention that most of our viewers are not subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you're here, then you're in the pursuit of knowledge, so you are at the right show. Please feel free to leave a comment just to tell us who you want to see next as a guest on our show, and me and my team will do everything in our power to bring you the very best. Like, subscribe, and share to our YouTube channel because that's the only way you get to support us. Thank you. Welcome to yet another episode of Thoughts Beyond the Bubble. Today I have an interesting guest. I'm joined by Ingrid Vuta. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Vuta or Vuta?
It's Vuta. The first one is correct.
Because Vuta sounds English somehow. I don't know how.
Quite interesting, but yeah, it's Vuta. Very Zambian from the Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. The wise came from the East. And I'm joined by another wise lady. Yeah. So, great to have you once again.
Thank you for having me, Ian.
Yeah. We're on a hot topic today. This is something that is a disease, but probably with no visible symptoms really per se, like physically visible, but certain signs can be seen. Yeah, I thought we really handle mental health because, and I thought of you in particular because I've seen you speak at a number of events about mental health. But in particular, I wanted us to talk really more about men. Yeah. We have spoken about mental health in relation to drugs, mental health in relation to other things. But today I want to concentrate on men.
On men. Yeah.
How has been your experience dealing with mental health and men?
Okay. Thank you so much, Ian, for that very good question. So to begin with, allow me to say we all have mental health because both you and I have a brain, we have a mind, we need to think, and all that entails the brain at work. Your mind at work and all these parts that make the brain and the mind be active. And that means that both you and I have mental health. And when we do not have mental health, then it means we may have challenges that have to do with mental health issues, mental health challenges, and mental health disorders. Yeah, so firstly, that's one thing I need to point out. Now, speaking about men's mental health, quite an interesting issue because really we live in a world where it's been years down the line, but the narrative is still the same that men have to be strong. Physically, Mamuna Samadila. Thank God Abel, whatever he was thinking about when he sat down to write that song.
Yeah.
I love everything, the message about that song. Yeah. So Mamuna Samadila. And this is how even now, from the time that a boy, is just about 5, is just about 10, they would tell that boy child, "Ndio mamuna." A boy child should not cry. A boy child should be very strong. Then you are living in a world where the boy child also goes through a lot of challenges that stresses their mind. It's not just about the physical pain, but you know how the boy child also has to interact with a lot of stresses of life, which can bring in a lot of mental health challenges. And so the society then that we live in will always say, we are always taking care of the girl child first before the boy child. So from the time that a boy is introduced to life from an early stage, all the way up to the time that they grow up, they get married, they are told you have to bottle up all those emotions.
And be a man.
Like being a man is, you should not cry. You should not be emotional because being emotional is for women. Yeah. But then men also hurts. Men may also not be okay. Men also have challenges, the same challenges that a woman may also have to go through. And a lot of times we we tend to have men that do not have to open up because everybody else is going to laugh at them. Everybody else is going to say, you are not strong. Are you really being a man if you are really crying? I'll give you an example of funerals in the African setup, in the Zambian setup.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, whether you are a firstborn, you are a thirdborn, but as long as you are a boy, they'll tell you, let's say you've lost your father. They'll say, Uirarira, Umwaume is the one that has to, think about, how are we going to buy the coffin? How are we going to feed the mourners? How are we going to take care of the family? So your father has died today and you are not mourning, but everybody else is mourning. 10 years down the line, it hits you really hard because you did not process all those emotional issues, the painful issues that you were going through at that time when your parent died. It's 10 years down the line. And that's when you have to remember that, I really lost dad 10 years ago. And it hits in so bad. And lucky you if you do not even resort to other means to end up coping. Because this is why men, would have to tend to unhealthy coping strategies, because society has said, umwaume kukosa, umwaume kube nshimbi, That's, I think, that's where we can begin the conversation from around men's mental health.
Okay. One guy writes and says, for the longest time in history, mental health has never been the topic. But now that we speak about mental health, then we begin to see the cases. Could it be the case that these issues have always been there, but because we didn't know what they were, we couldn't really point them out? Or has it been that because now we speak about mental health, we have sort of triggered what was asleep and now we have the problem? What's your take on that?
Yeah. I think we are currently advancing with regards to conversations around men's mental health, especially when we take it back 2 years ago. Now we have different platforms. We have a historical, issue where even just for a man to come out to maybe, let's say, a wife about the issues that they're going through at work would be very unacceptable. But now, I think we still see people coming out in the open, men coming out in the open about the challenges that they might be going through. And one saying I love, it may not be exact as is, where it says vulnerability encourages vulnerability. A lot of men now, most men at least, will come up and talk about the anxiety issues that they are facing, the depressing, issues that they are facing, be at home, be at work. And they'll use different platforms. It could be on social media. It could be they shared a WhatsApp status and you get that WhatsApp status as a fellow man because you feel like, I am not alone because somebody else, another man spoke about it. So when men are given that platform, a safe space where at home they're able to talk about it, back at work they're able to talk about it, at church they're able to talk about it, then even another man out there will be more comfortable to also open up because they feel I am not alone. You see, oftentimes in homes where you still have like a male figure, a father figure, you need that father figure to also be emotional to the young males that are growing up in the home.
Okay.
So that they can also be able to understand that, if uncle, daddy can actually be this emotional, then it is okay for me to be emotional, for me to feel pain. And it's the only way that we are going to get away from all these historical notions about, okay, we don't have to open up because you are a man, because you are, men have been told, and they're like, but the same man has a brain. The same man has a mind. They also go through all these stresses of life. So what makes them not human for them to open up? So yeah, now I think it has been more of, an open world where people can easily talk about it, and safe spaces are being created at work. Online, we see most men now coming out. Of course, there is another, smaller part of society. It may not be very small, but we know that there are still other men out there who may hold back because they still feel like, I have grown up in a home where it's embarrassing to cry. It's embarrassing to, open up about any challenges that you're going through. But hey, a man has a brain. a man has a mind. They also go through all these issues of life. So why not express all those emotions? And why not allow a man also be very comfortable even when they come to you? Even when they come to you and open up about that challenging issue, give them the space, the safe space, encourage, vulnerability. If it means that you have to bring in another person that you may know who is going through a similar issue, let them feel that they are not going through these challenges alone.
Which makes me think about these two questions, right? And number one is, does being emotional look different for a man in comparison to a woman?
Okay.
That's number one. Maybe let's answer that one and then I can get to the next one if I don't lose my thought.
So oftentimes we want to say women are a bit irrational compared to men. And so we expect a man to react a certain way. So when a man maybe cries, we want to say, why uchita mngandwe mkazi? But at the end of the day, I want to believe it doesn't have to be different.
Okay.
Because both are human. Male or female, we are both humans. The same way that the death of a loved one has to hit a girl, a boy, a female, male out there. Maybe the same way that it has to, hit both men and women. It has to be the same way that probably they have to feel the pain, they have to process the pain. So because a man maybe expressed their pain in some sort of writing, doesn't have to be, looked at as, oh, you are being a woman, you are being irrational. No, we are all human. And so there is nothing different about how a man should be expressing their emotions compared to how a woman should. Yeah.
And what exactly would you advise? Because we live in a world where if as a man you express yourself to some extent, you get words like "umwa you know what I mean? And you're seen as gay, for a lack of a better term. A man cannot do this because you'll be seen as gay. How then do men circumnavigate such instances? Because stereotyping is a big thing, really. And to add on, which was my second question then, is what exactly are we doing to accommodate men's emotion? Because for the longest time, men have been brought up in a certain way. And things that have been done for a very long time take time to leave people's minds. It's almost like it's almost embedded in their DNA, if you know what I mean. It's like the way we talk about Africans need to think, and yet our minds are still colonized, and it's taking a lot. And the reason I say this is just a quick story. Back in 2018, 2019, I get my first internship. I'm working for this organization. I won't mention the name. Fast forward, I receive around 98,000 kwacha in my account. Guess what? The bank freezes my account to ask me where I'm getting the money from. That's because my cash flow before then could not reach that amount. So now I'm thinking about it and I'm like,
the mentality.
Yeah, it tells a lot really about the country we are in, because you hear stories like a person had $600,000 in their account and the DEC is on him. $600,000? And they're already investigating who you are,
In another part of the world, like, that's nothing.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Today, if I receive $1 million in my account, which is just about 24 million kwacha, I have to be investigated. And they'll obviously freeze my account. In fact, it's actually even by law that if you're going to deposit or withdraw over $2,000, there'll be some sort of, I don't know if it's concerned or what, that you need to take to the bank to just justify $2,000, which is not a lot of money if you ask me, Yeah. And it tells really about the mentality around us, and these are things that have been embedded. So for us to actually change this mentality, there are certain systems that have to change.
Yes. Yes.
So now the system with regards to mental health for the longest time has been that a man should be a man, right? At the same time, when we are addressing the issues of men having to speak out and really show their emotion, what really are we doing to accommodate that emotion? Is there any sort of training that then women have to go through to accommodate these emotions? Because I don't feel really that they will really handle the emotions as men would, because for the longest time men have been built to handle the emotions for women, but that has not been the case for women.
So, yeah, I actually agree with you that for the longest time we have been inclined to still grow up with all those notions around, masculinity being that way. And it's actually everybody that has to be involved. Remember, for example, this boy child is coming from a home where maybe there's no father to see how emotions should be processed, or even when there is a father or father figure, they actually have never seen them express sadness, express maybe shame. They have never learned anything like that, but they always keep on hearing that a man should never be seen crying. A man should always be strong. And it's true. This is what we have learnt from childhood, from our grandmothers, the older people and the like. So, yes, I agree that this lesson begins from everybody around us. So whether the man, the boy, is interacting with a female who is an auntie, who is a mother, a sister, that person has to be a safe space. That person has to be welcoming to conversations that feel uncomfortable for a man to speak about. You see, we don't have to wait for it to be a disaster. A lot of times a child comes through to their parents, to their guardians and says, I'm not feeling too well, or I want to talk to you, I'm going through issues. But then the mothers, the guardians in the home are going to ask you, what are you going through? You, a 13-year-old boy, what do you know about life?
Exactly.
And that is, the notion that the child is going to grow up with. What do I know about life? I don't have to open up. After all, mommy, auntie, my sister did not give me an opportunity to talk. So, yes, we as females have to be a safe space. We have to be, very welcoming to those conversations. Do not be judgmental. You being judgmental simply means that the person is going to hold back. Now, you know what happens when you bottle up emotions? They keep on piling.
Until there's no space.
Until there is no space. It's like a bucket of water, an empty bucket, and you're trying to fetch water. So the water is the stressors of life. And if you do not sieve out to create space for more of those stressors of life, what happens? It begins to overflow. And these are the outbursts, the depression, the anxieties that we see, serious mental disorders that we see. So if we can begin by creating those safe spaces from our homes, all those lessons that we are taught from the home, that a boy is the one that is supposed to be in the garden, for example, the girl child be the one to cook and whatnot. If it means that even with regards to mental health discussions, let them start from home. The home is the first school that you and I are introduced to in the world. It's the first school.
Yeah.
Let us get to the church. Let us get to the schools that we go to, be it in primary and whatnot. Let's be welcoming to the conversations that have to, that men have to bring about what they feel, about what they think about certain issues of life, about how they are expressing their pain. Let us be open. So yes, we as women, we also need to step up, be welcoming, less judgmental, allow men to also express who they are. Because most of the times it will be easy for me to come through to you and say, oh, Ian, listen to, what is happening with me, or I'm going through this particular issue. And then you just be like, oh, wow, yeah, this is really sad, and probably you will help me get some solutions and whatnot. But then you opening up, already what you mentioned earlier is a man opening up is, misunderstood for, oh, you are being gay and whatnot. The question I'm going to ask you is, whether you are being gay, whether you're not gay, do you have a brain? Do you have a mind? Do you go through stressors of life? Definitely yes. And the fact that we all go through all these stresses of life may become overwhelming at some point. And definitely you are also prone to having mental disorders, to having issues that will bring in all these challenges that have to affect your mental health. So it starts with everybody, not just the female folk, but everybody else that has to be involved.
Okay. Here's a thought that I'm having in my mind. The hormone reward system for men and women is kind of different, correct? What feeds men's testosterone is different from what feeds women
Yes. Progesterone.
Progesterone.
Estrogen.
Yeah. So for a man to feed his testosterone in how issues are handled, I'll give an example. In the hierarchy of strong men, all the way down, you get to realize that men want to be on the top 1% because they hold power, they hold money, and success, this reward system sort of creates men who want to chase success.
Yes.
Right? And because they know that once you succeed, you have the top 1% of females following you, because women marry upwards. You don't marry
downward.
Yeah. Well, with an exempted few today, because obviously the pool is very small to pick from, because then we've created a lot of junkies today. So which means you have a very, very narrow pool to pick from, right? So then you have a number of men then looking for success, right? Which has created some sort of an addiction for success.
Yes.
Looking at then the hormone reward system for both men and women, is it safe for us to handle mental health the same in both male and female? Or is there a way we could handle mental health for men differently?
Okay. I'm of the opinion that if we have to handle mental health differently, then I think we would still be encouraging challenges. Because then a man would still have to choose how they react to certain issues. They would still have to choose to express pain in a certain way, shame, fear in a certain way. And I agree with you that men will feed their ego, everything around them through success, buying a big car, getting a promotion at work, having more money. Yeah, I actually agree with that. But then we have also brought in challenges where we want to measure success by all these huge, huge things. But then Ian, success could actually look like, I managed to stay away from my phone today for at least 2 hours. Success may not be measured by all these big things. It may mean, I managed to, if you take alcohol, for example, and you are an alcoholic trying to deal with those challenges, and you take maybe, let's say, 6 bottles, success would look like, I managed to only take 4 bottles today. That's success. And so dealing with mental health challenges differently, men compared to women, I feel would still encourage a lot of discrimination, stigma, around men's mental health. Then it will mean that we are still going back to saying men have to act a certain way. Because even dealing with a mental health issue, then it means that we have to act a certain way to deal around, those mental health challenges. But if we have to be fair, if we have to encourage safe spaces where conversations around mental health can be healthy, can be spoken about without any judgment, then we have to deal with these issues the same way. If you have to have open hands as women discuss, the mental health challenges, do the same even for the male folk.
Okay.
It's the only way they're going to also feel, you guys are going to feel not different from us females. It's the only way you're going to feel safe to speak about these issues. You see, the journey around life does not come with, a guide. But we want to live as if it comes with a guide on how a man should handle certain issues. So society is expectant. Ian should have all these issues, should have all these, success, cars, houses. He should be able to do this and that. But no, you are human the same way that we also are human. And you go through the same similar challenges that we also go through. So I think it has to be, let's be fair. So let's treat men the same way that we have to treat even a woman. Because look at home, right? In our home setup, even in our African setup, even the homes that we live in, when it's around maybe let's say puberty changes coming in, boys, sometimes it comes as a shock. You know why? Because the homes that we come from are more concerned about teaching a girl child on how to take care of herself. Who teaches the boy child?
You figure it out.
You figure it out because you are a man. So even the very first time you have, the first experience of, puberty and whatnot, you are shocked. It's like, oh, wow, what just happened? Yeah, as a boy child. And so these notions are still inclined, even how to deal with mental health challenges. Then it means that we are still going to have all this stigma and discrimination around how we take care of men's mental health. So if we are able to accommodate both males and females fairly, then the better. Then we would be moving, a step better.
Let's talk about fairness. But before we actually dive into that, maybe let me ask this question. What does the success of women mental health look like for you?
Okay. Yeah, very tricky question. Again, since I'm talking about, fairness in how we deal with mental health challenges, women's mental health, having a successful mental health or being in good mental health.
How does it look like?
Simply means I'm first of all mentally aware of what is going on around me, be it negative, positive, everything in my environment. Also, I'm able to process the emotions. So if I am in an overwhelming environment, maybe there's strangers, there is all danger in the environment, how am I processing those emotions? Am I feeling anxious? Am I scared that there are a lot of strangers around, that I'm not safe? How am I processing those emotions? What am I doing to act on those emotions that I'm feeling around? Is it the feelings of, fear because maybe I'm with strangers and whatnot, or I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to run? For me, that is a successful mental health. Also, even when it comes to the stressors of life that we're talking about, because yes, these are the ones that really bring in mental health challenges. When I talk about all those issues, whether it's feelings of, anger, pain and whatnot, whatever we go through, whether it's grief and whatnot, am I still able to be resilient enough to come back and still be able to cope with all the other stressors? Because trust me, when the pain hits your mental health and whatnot, it's not like all these other issues also take a pause and say, we are waiting for Ingrid to be better now. Life continues. If there were other challenges that have to still happen every day, they still continue. So despite the issues that I'm going through that will still affect my mental health, am I mentally aware? Am I processing all those emotions? Am I still able to accommodate more? Am I still able to come back? Am I resilient enough to still fight back, to still be able to think, still contribute positively to life at work, in my interactions with friends? That's what it means for me to have a good mental well-being. So resilience, positive coping, mentally aware of what is going on. Even when I have to name the emotions I'm feeling, all that means a successful, mental health. Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling fear? Is it shame? Is it anger? Am I able to name all those emotions? That's how I would say, I'm mentally healthy as a woman. Am I bouncing back to life? Yeah.
Speaking of resilience, I was watching a podcast, and this woman says men need to learn how to speak to women and need to know when and when not to speak to women. And she says, in 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 the menstrual cycle of a woman, the first 2 days of her being on her periods, don't speak to her. You probably
Because
not
she's
get
very emotional.
yeah, you probably not get the best out of that conversation. I want to relate that with fairness in relation to men. We don't have a menstrual cycle. So how we feel and how we deal with issues is almost like a constant depending on the problem throughout the month. So speaking of how success looks like in women in relation to mental health, what could be your response to that?
Okay.
And also, as you respond to that, could you also respond to pre and post career advancement in women? How has the mental health been handled pre and post advancement?
Okay, so let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with you that we women have those times of the month when our hormones are, some type of way. And so even how our mental health is may also be dependent on that. One of the things I should mention is that our mental health, both you and I, is affected by different things, environmental factors, different things, inclusive of hormonal issues, biological issues. And that brings in the issue that you've just spoken about, you need to be mindful how you interact with a woman maybe during a certain time of the month because her emotions are, not balanced, or progesterone, estrogen maybe is higher. And so the brain, all these things are affected and whatnot. Now, men then may have to watch what they say, you probably have to even ask to say, oh, is she moody today? Yeah. Now, I agree that may also affect how a man is going to approach a woman because he's also thinking like, oh, is this the time when she has to be rude to respond, or is this the time that she's very welcoming and whatnot? Speaking to how we have to handle those issues, I think you as a man may only be able to tell sometimes if you're really close to a woman, whether she's your wife or you live in the same home. I think that's when you would be able to tell that, okay, the mood is good enough, or okay, it's that time of the month. I think sometimes we even hear my female friends would actually mention at that time of the month to say, "Elo muniambe buino," because hapa papeve hapa sina ukemushi. Yeah, sometimes could be yes because of that time of the month. But I mean, at the end of the day, we still have to be mindful of how we are welcoming the people that have to approach us, because definitely I'm not going to have a poster on my forehead like,
I'm on my piece today.
I'm on my piece today. Don't talk to me today. My emotions are all over today. We're not definitely going to have that poster. And so being mentally aware already means, how am I processing my emotions, knowing that I am at that time of the month, the hormones are all over, the emotions are all over. That's being mentally, aware. Even how you are reacting is part of mental health. Because definitely, if you're going to react in a healthy manner, I may not act or smiles, but at least I'm just okay. I'm not frowning, but at least I'm just fine. So even how I am going to interact with you on those my days should not be aggressive, with a lot of anger, for you to actually be scared and say, oh, you have to watch her. You have to watch whatever you say to her. Yeah, so being mentally aware already means, how am I processing the emotions? How am I reacting to whatever it is that you are telling me, or as you come to approach me? Yeah. And then the second question around career issues. Yeah. I think this also affects men.
Okay.
In terms of, some people are just sad because really I have gotten all the maybe necessary certifications, papers and whatnot, and it gets you depressed because you are not finding the right maybe job, the right maybe success. that, you are not where you really want to be. And so it hits your mental health. It gets you anxious. Am I really going to achieve what I wanted by the age of 30, by the age of 25, by the age of 40 and whatnot? It does affect your mental health because those are environmental factors that are also happening around you, but will also have to hit you at some point. And one thing that I've also noticed is how sometimes we tend to look at the success of our fellow females and like, what am I doing wrong? And then you just tend to isolate, tend to feel shame, tend to feel, like, I think I'm not doing the right thing. Depression kicks in. But then what we need to realize is the ladder in terms of life is so different from everybody. People will succeed maybe because they inherited something, because they got it through hard work, because they followed certain steps. If we have to follow the shortcuts and whatnot, that's a shortcut to the mortuary. Definitely all those, issues are going to, whatever shortcut you use are going to have repercussions and whatnot. And so I feel it's always important to first of all realize that, look, my ladder is different. And am I really doing what I have to do to get to where I need to be in terms of career? Some may call it luck. Yeah, I think it's all these different issues at play.
It reminds me of a conversation I was having with my parents, I think 2 weeks ago. I visited them and then mom is telling me, you know what, you should pray hard because I feel like luck is not on you. At the level where you are right now, you should have been way further than this. Maybe the devil is holding his hand. Please pray hard. Mothers. Yeah, but dad said one thing. He said, no, I think he's okay because we did not give him an upper hand to be where he is. Yeah, this boy started from 0 up. So even from where he is, it's still God working. Yeah, and it really struck me, he's aware that this is exactly what's going on, I could compare myself to other friends who started driving at a particular point, got a job at a particular point, did certain things at a particular point.
Yeah.
But also, I have to put into consideration to say, were we raised the same way?
Exactly.
Were there any sort of inheritance in terms of, And also, I always say this, most of the places I've been to, that most of the times we compare our failures with other people's successes.
Yes.
And in school, we understand that for you to work around any mathematical equation, you always cancel out like terms. So if at all I have to put that into practice to life, I cannot compare my problems with your success because those are unlike terms. But if I have to compare my problems with your problems, I'll probably even sit down and say, I think I'm doing much better than this particular person. But because this person, we don't know their problems, and that's where we should mind our own business because it's a race against yourself, not a race against anyone else. And which brings me to my other question, social media. Because you see, today social media makes us have a feeling like we are really left behind. It's like this and this person, we feel like everybody else is succeeding except us.
Except me. I agree with you. Get to LinkedIn. Here's a close friend of yours who is probably just doing some taxi business. But then on LinkedIn, they have this very huge profile that you are even like, is this the Ian I know?
Or not.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of danger in us trying to compare our lives to others, our friends. Like we have agreed here. We are not from the same homes. If siblings that have been brought up in the same home actually turn out differently, their success turns out differently sometimes. What about you and I, who have not been in the same home, who may have just met in uni, who may have just met in secondary school? So we tend to look at all these, profiles on social media like, oh, wow, my friend is now a director. My friend now has 2 children. They now are driving 4 cars and whatnot. But then look back. Look at how your map of life has been. Maybe even better than, how others maybe have processed their life all through to the point where they are. And if we can really appreciate all those small success, all those small success stories, because really, I think success just doesn't come like, boom, oh, you're now a huge, a big guy, you're now happening and whatnot. We forget to appreciate all the baby steps that got us to where we are. We want to lay back. There's a lot of stress, depression that you get into just trying to look at your friend's life. Like, oh, this is what they have achieved. And the funny thing is, I think you and I can agree that maybe, let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we already had this notion about who we wanted to be. Like, it was a dream that we really wanted to achieve. By 26, I should have done this.
Exactly.
I should have achieved this and that.
Yo.
But life happens.
No longer in the 20s.
No longer in the 20s. Yeah, like life has happened. And you look at that and you're like, am I doing enough? I think I remember some time back reading some comments on social media because a friend had gotten a gift for a car for a graduation. And then some of the comments read, where do you face when you are praying? Like, I also want to face the same direction because I'm not achieving what you're achieving, yet we are around the same age and whatnot. But you see, we all have different backgrounds. We all have been exposed to, different lives. Like we have said, some people have gotten certain things through hard work, through inheritance, through different, winning, for example. You get to see people that have just won about, maybe some competition and whatnot, and life just changes. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody. You have to be in competition with yourself. There's a lot of unnecessary issues that we get ourselves into because we also want to be like Ian. I want to be like Ian. He is driving 4 cars. I also want to be like him. I will end up stealing. How did Ian get the 4 cars? So be more concerned about you. And you never know the guide. You might be somebody's map, somebody's guide. Somebody else there would be saying, you know what? I want to be like Ian. But then if Ian used another pathway, what sort of guide are you giving to that particular person who looks up to you then? So we need to be more concerned about ourselves. Are we doing the right thing? And trust me, doing the right thing to get to success, that's the sweetest thing that you can ever do for yourself in life because it's less stressful. Yeah. But then if we go roundabout to get to success, you always live with a lot of anxieties. Or maybe they're going to come and take away whatever I achieved, whatever I attained, because it was through dubious means. There is pride in getting success through your own hard work.
Yes.
Even when you are in school and you get, that 80%, or you fought so hard at work, got promoted and whatnot, and you are now a manager, a director, you now have a car, you bought yourself a car because of the hard work. There is pride in that.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot of pride in that. And that comes with a lot of respect as well. Other than one where it just raises eyebrows like, how did they get to where they are now? Yeah, so be in competition with yourself. You are what matters. Be more concerned about what you have to do for yourself. And talking about being more concerned about yourself, I look at life as, like a race where, let's speak about, for example, the repercussions that come with life. When you do something wrong, you will always say, it's Ian that is going through the consequences of what he did. But if you did it with other people, because other people were also, involved in whatnot, you get comforted, right? It's like you're even, my friend also did this and that.
So,
but then it's your life. Maybe 3-4 years from now, this other friend's life even changes. And now you are alone to deal with all those problems that have come as a result of your bad behavior. of something wrong that you may have done.
I remember us making excuses when we were kids to say, you're asked, why did you fail? Dad, the highest got 39%. And Dad would always be like, no, it's not about the highest got
Exactly.
getting 39%.
What did you
Why did
get?
you fail
Yes,
yourself?
why did you fail?
And you always be like, you know what, mathematics is a subject for men. You're supposed to be good in mathematics no matter what. Oh, my friends failed. And you be comforted because of your friends' failure.
Yeah, because of your friends' failure. And unfortunately, that's the life we live in. I think that's something that we also have to change, because, like, look, we have failed, the 5 of us in a group. In grade 9, you're not proceeding to grade 10 because, now you feel, even my friends. Now, you go back home. Are you going back home with your friends? Definitely not. And even when you are being asked by other people out there, like, oh, which school are you going to now that we have, passed grade 9 and whatnot? Are you answering on behalf of every other person? It's you. You have to answer this question as an individual. It has to be you. It has to be you navigating through whatever has to come, whether you passed, whether and sometimes even when you pass that grade 9, you even go to separate schools where you have to figure out your own life. That's what life is all about. It's all about you.
That's very true. I think with what you've said, I could speak to gossipers out there. Not really because of the trauma I've been through with gossipers, but because look at this, right? I feel like when people gossip, they run away from themselves. Really. And in trying to comfort themselves, they try and speak about others so that they are comforted to say, okay, it's not possible that person could be that.
Yeah.
So to address their failure, they'll put failure on the other person so that we say, no, we are just the same. It's only that this person used dubious means and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because look at this, right? When I got my car, people were asking, how exactly has he gotten a car? First of all, he's even lost his job, blah, 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 and whatnot. He probably got the car from loans and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, if I got my car from a loan, then obviously the bank will come and collect it. Just wait until they come and collect it.
Just wait for them. They'll come and
don't
get
worry.
it
They'll
eventually.
get it. Exactly. But also I got comforted to the fact that, okay, so the person saying this does not even drive. So it's obviously trying to just comfort themselves that they're not driving anymore. And because this guy is driving, so he obviously got a loan. Because I'm sure that for them to speak like that, they only think that the only way he could get a car is through a loan.
Yes.
So I feel, just like you've said, people really need to speak to themselves, really, and not just...
Trust me, life is about interrogating everything that you do as an individual.
Yeah, and not others.
The choices that you make as an individual person, and not thinking about, we were in a group, I was with my friends and whatnot. I feel, having to get stuck in because I am with other people actually just delays your whole process of progress in life.
Yeah.
When you could have been doing something about your life to improve your life, you were wasting your life in gossip. You were wasting your life in trying to think, you know what, how did Ian get to where he is? How are you getting to where you want to be? Have you asked yourself that question? Why are you more concerned about other people's lives? Because it's all about you. Okay, Ian is now no longer in your sight. And then what? Are you going to replace the gossip about Ian with something else? How is that contributing to your life?
Let's go back to men's mental health. We talked about fairness, right? I want us to touch that topic a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Men, for the longest time, have been seeking success to allow them to be called men, right? And now, because we've pushed the agenda that a female child must be educated, a female child must, we even have organizations like women must lead, women must, girl child must. So because we've pushed that agenda so much, we have not really realized that actually we have educated the woman much more than the man. And I feel like the reason of us having a lot of junkies around is as a result that, well, if you are educating more females and neglecting the man, obviously they become frustrated. Because first of all, it becomes hard out there for them to get the woman they want. Because first of all, the woman they want is doing better than them, she's more educated than them, she drives a better car than them. So what do? They can't get that woman. And also, I feel like this is affecting women to some extent, because I mean, women also marry upwards, and then if you marry upwards and then you realize that you are the one up and there's no man up there, so how do you?
There are fewer men out there.
There are fewer men out there, so your choices are hard, so you're left to look down.
You have to look downward.
Yeah, and then for the men, it becomes hard because first of all, we're not even talking about mental health for men. So what are they left to do? Drugs, addiction. Yeah, so then it brings in whole issues of addiction and whatnot. What's your thought really in relation to the fact that we have concentrated much more on the girl child and neglected the man?
Yeah, that's it's also quite difficult to actually discuss that conversation, being a female myself.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes the female child has been seen as the most vulnerable.
Yes, for the longest time, actually.
For the longest time, the female child has been seen as the most vulnerable. And so even when we look at opportunities, whether it's education, we're always trying to say equity, because the boy child has maybe always had some of these opportunities, but then still challenges around mental health still remain. Now, in still trying to, cope with all these challenges, the competition that a guy, already a male, you try to look at maybe the percentage allocated to opportunities in school for females oftentimes is higher compared to that is allocated for the males. Already you have to fight for that. Maybe you're fighting for the 60%.
Yeah, for both.
And then maybe is allocated to the females. So already for them to cope up, males then have to turn to all these unhealthy coping strategies, drugs and whatnot, which gets into addiction. Now, I always say, look, in as much as the focus has been so much on the girl child, the girl child is still interacting with the male. So this means that we still have to also take focus on the male child. Because now we are going to end up with an unbalanced society. Maybe the girls are going to be healthy mentally, and then the boys are going to be unhealthy. But at the end of the day, they are still interacting with each other.
And yet we're preaching equality.
Yes, we are still preaching equality, which is not the case. It's a holistic approach. It's the schools having to be fair with how you have to handle issues of a boy child, the same way you have to handle issues of a girl child. Actually, even when you go in schools, you find maybe, let's say, clubs. There are a lot more clubs around girls, less for boys. You get maybe to churches and whatnot, more groupings for women. You and I come from a church where we have, I think, more groupings for the female folk than for the male folk. So all that simply means it's still unfair. There's still, there's no equality there. We want to preach equality. Oh, okay, it's equity, it's equality and whatnot. Okay, boy child should have this and that. But really, if we have to be fair, the same focus that you have to give to the girl, let's do the same even for the boy child. They are interacting together at the end of the day. And this is why you find even when people get into interacting, maybe let's say in relationships or at work, Ian has not been taught how to interact with a female. But Ingrid has been taught maybe how to interact with a male. But then it still clashes because the other one is not knowledgeable. The other one is knowledgeable. So what are we still doing at the end of the day? Almost nothing. Work done then may be equal to zero. And so the need to ensure that we create a balance at church, at home, at school, whether it becomes, at policy level. If you have to say, let's ensure that policies are also balancing for the girl child, the boy child to also have access to all these other opportunities, because like you have said, it's already unbalanced. A lot of girls, females have become educated. And then you still don't want to go down with regards to even finding a partner, a life partner, because you are like, oh, are we going to interact on the same level?
Exactly.
All that begins to affect you. And now when it hits you like that, it still affects your mental health negatively.
Exactly.
Even all these career issues are now affected. Now you're like, oh, I needed to do a PhD. But maybe let me pause, because if I get into a PhD, I don't know which Mr. Right is going to be there, because there'll be maybe 5 of them. Among the 5 of them, maybe 4 are already taken, and then there's one.
There's one.
Exactly. And
who is not probably looking at you.
Exactly. So, like, the balance has to be there. It has to be a race where we embrace each other. If we have to hold each other's hands as we are trying to get all those opportunities, males and females, let's try to do that. I know it's hard. It's still a conversation that has to be, made very popular out there. Because it's still unpopular for us to speak equality for both males and females. It's very an unpopular opinion even now. And coming to the issues of addiction, oftentimes you will note that some of these addictions are more common in the male folk. Yes, pornography, like you have said. All these issues around drugs, they are more common around the male folk. And you see, addiction means that you are still going back to do whatever you are doing, whatever you are addicted to, because it's giving you, some sense of euphoria. Yes, dopamine reward. Like I'm happy in the moment.
Yeah.
That's the thing with addiction.
And even though it's wrong, it's pretty much what I write about in my book, Cognitive Dissonance.
Exactly. Yes, please. Yes, please. That's exactly what you write about. It's wrong, but people keep on going back to it. Why? Because they want to just get that sense of euphoria, that sense of happiness, just for a few seconds, just for a few minutes. But then, we are back to reality. Reality hits. And when reality hits, we still want to still get back into abusing whatever substance, whether it's the drug, it's the alcohol, maybe it's the cocaine, maybe it's the pornography, maybe. We still want to get into it because it makes us feel happy in the moment. The unfortunate thing is, with addiction, even when you know that it's bringing harm, you still want to go back to it. But then it begins to affect everything around you, your interaction with people, your daily output in life. You need to isolate. For example, if you are addicted to drugs, you are addicted to pornography, are you going to watch the special video that you have to watch in the presence of everybody?
No.
You have to isolate. You need to create time for it, for you to feel happy that to satisfy the craving. That's what happens with and all those are negative coping strategies, because people are not finding the best way to cope up with all these. Men are not finding the best strategies to cope up with all these issues that are going on around. Oh, okay, the women are more educated. Oh, the women are more cared for. The women have more opportunities and whatnot. Yeah, so it's a balance, and that balance calls for a holistic approach, beginning from people that are in top authorities, higher authority figures and whatnot, to the home, to back at work, to back at school. It's a holistic approach.
Okay, so we try and keep this podcast at least under 1 hour. You and I, we know we can go the whole day talking about
Yes,
this. And
please.
the issue of mental health really, for men, takes a lot of time. We can speak about this. But I'm sure in the near future, I'll still need to call you back to just handle a bit more about mental
Happy
health.
to come back.
Yeah, I'd be happy to host you again. Your last word on what we can do really to help men.
Okay. Yeah. So firstly, I'll re-echo some of the things I mentioned earlier. A man has a brain, a mind. They go through all stresses of life. that means that they are also prone to having mental health challenges. Now, you and I have to create safe spaces, beginning from everywhere, be it the male folk friends that we have. Allow them be vulnerable in terms of opening up, because vulnerability encourages vulnerability. So if another man can open up, then another man is going to feel, I'm not alone. And let's change the narrative around all these notions, the historical issues that we have about, oh, mamuna samalila, oh, are you a man if you are behaving a certain type of way? You are human. And men also need to know that it's okay to not be okay, because even men have to go through challenges of life. And you being resilient does not mean that you should not show emotions. Men need to be encouraged to express their emotions when they are angry, in a healthy way, of course. When they are sad, let a man cry, because it's the only way that the younger boy out there is going to see that this is actually normal to cry.
He's got tear glands.
Yes. It's actually very healthy for you not to, to be afraid of something that is going on. But if we bottle up all these emotions, we end up risking very serious mental health challenges. And we do not want to reach a point where, oh, we should have known better. We should have handled this mental health issue when it was really small. Let's pay attention. And this is for everybody out there. When a man comes to you and opens up about a certain issue, sometimes they're just whispering, about a challenge that they're going through. Now, you don't need to reach that point where the man should now scream. And by screaming, I mean now the mental health challenges have become really serious. Now we have to go and see them at Chainama. No, we can begin from just our circles in our simple interactions with people around us. So be mindful. Be very careful even as you interact with other people, because that's the only way that will encourage a good mental health and healthy conversations around men's mental health. So to a man out there, please know that you are also human. Yeah, let's all take care of our mental health.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's been a good talk. It's really been a good talk. Yeah. To the viewers out there, I know you have a lot of questions, and I know we probably haven't even touched a bit of what we needed to touch. But I promise you that we will still, me and my team will still work this out and still bring you more around men's mental health. Please, if you have any questions, leave a comment and we will do everything possible to respond to those questions for you. Yeah, it's been a great podcast. It's been a great episode. And I see you next time. Thank you for watching.